Welcome back to another video. Well, I shouldn't say it like that. Another video. I'm just hot and whew. Oh my. I don't know if I'm gonna get a cold enough night or a cool enough night to work on that dang fan. Stay right here right now. I don't know if they'd really bother me, but it's kind of a known thing. They don't want you parked right up by their building for the night anyway when they're closing. Too bad because the signal's much stronger here, and I actually get about 25 megabyte upload, and I could actually, not too hot anyway, I ain't gonna do it anyway, but if I had more energy and it wasn't so hot, then I could actually upload some videos while I was in that spot. But I've got to, oh my. Oh yeah, I should have enough to turn out there when I was in a park on me. So I need to hang out in the street. Woohoo! Goodness gracious. Okay, so I'm downhill a little bit. I don't need to back up no more though, because where I'm at. And oh my. I don't want to run this gas, but it is dang hot. Oh. Yeah, it's 80 degrees outside, but it's still like 86 degrees back there, I think. Well, actually, I know what I can do. I can check my, well, I'll tell you how hot it is back there in a second here. it's even hotter than that. It's 90 degrees back there yet. So I got my thermostat from my diesel heater hanging on the wall. That's not running, but it's still got power to the thermostat and everything, you know. So and it's 90 degrees back there, and that's at about knee height, you know. So and heat rises, so it's 90 to 90. I wouldn't go over 94. I don't think it's over 94, but it's still not good. That's why I feel so hot in here. I was wondering why I felt so hot. Holy mackerel. Oh my, oh my. Oh. So, I got my oregano. It's going to take a while for that stuff to cook, so what I'm probably going to do, I do the rice first. Once I do the rice, the rest of it can sit there and slow cook until morning. And nothing will burn because it's a hot warmer. I mean, it does start, if you don't stir it every couple hours or so, once it starts getting hot, then on the bottom you'll get a little bit of where it's like almost starting to burn to the bottom of it, but it doesn't burn. It just stiffens up there, and if you stir it with a spoon or whatever and scrape it up, you can see that it's not burnt at all. Because that thing doesn't get that hot, but it gets hot enough to where, like, once it's done, if you're going to just try to eat it, it's hot enough to slow you down. Like, whoa, hey, let's blow on this a little and cool it down. You know, so it's weird because it's hot enough for that, but it's not hot enough to soften dried beans and stuff, you know. You have to get a good boil on the nose. That's something new I'm learning. I mean, it's not that I don't know how to cook, but I don't know how to cook. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just still learning a lot of stuff, you know. As a kid, I grew up poor, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. If we didn't have bread, we'd smear some, without peanut butter, we'd smear some jelly on a flour tortilla or something and roll it up, you know, make it a snack. And then if we wanted to get creative, sometimes because we had electric stove, we'd lay the tortilla on the burner and turn it on just for a short little bit, not on high, just enough to heat it up, and then stiffen up the tortilla a little bit to make it a little more crunchy if we wanted to have a little different texture. You know, I did that as a kid. When I was little then. Heck, I was doing that probably when I was, I don't know, 5 or 6 years old or something. Yeah, I was already cooking for myself by the time I was about five years old. Because my mom tried getting me into school, preschool, so she could go to work for part of the day or that. And because my birthday, my poor mom, she was so wonderful. Because my birthday is September 3rd, and it's during the school changeover. I might have to, if I catch this, I might have to leave up my birthday so somebody don't steal me. Well, Lord protect me, will you? But I was at the changeover point and I missed it by like, I don't know, it was like a day or something like that. I think it was one day if I remember correctly. I was pretty little then. And my mom, she was so heartbroken. She loved me and liked me around, but she wanted to, a single mom trying to make a living. And she wanted to be able to try to get part-time work during the day. And they wouldn't squeeze me in because my birthday was late by a day for the changeover of that. And they had to do it because of paperwork or whatever. And my mom's like, it's one day, you know, can't. They wouldn't do it back then. That was in 1970, 2, 3. So that was in like 1972 or 1973, I think. And yeah, so somewhere not long after that, my mom did start getting work. She was hoping I could be in preschool or that, but then brother, he was like 9 or 10 then, but he was just always a little tyrant. And he was old enough to kind of keep an eye on me, you know, a little bit, you know. And when he wasn't at school, so Mom could try to work to make money. And of course, when she wasn't there, he was always start fights with me all the time. And so, but he knew if he throttled on me too hard, he'd get in trouble. But he'd still do it enough, you know, or he'd be real pretty mean to me. Pin me down, spit in my face. He'd pack peanut butter up my nose or mayonnaise or stuff, you know. No, he was just mean. And finally got to where I just didn't want to take it no more. Because I never wanted to hurt him. I was always had a soft heart. But he was also mean and nasty that I started full throttle punching him as hard as I could. You know, so then the fight started getting more intense because I just got sick of picking on me. And then one time I got smart. See, my brother used to pick on me a lot. And I remember one time he got his appendix removed and he had stitches in his stomach. And my mom was at work and he was bullying and picking on me because it was a natural habit for him. And I'm running from him because I hated it. Who knows what was going to happen? There's times my brother he tied me up one time with the shoestrings and rope around my neck and my hands behind my back and then to my feet up behind my back, so I couldn't even straighten my legs or to choke me, you know. And yeah, he was a little rotten boy. And then I haven't thought of that for a long time. And that's when I was like, probably when I was like about 5 years old, you know. And he was probably 10. And anyway, yeah, I got so sick of being picked on and stuff that when he was chasing me that day after he had his stitches from his appendix, I was running to the kitchen and I noticed that the height of the kitchen table was the height of his stitches, you know, because he's 5 years older than me at the time. At the time, he was more stronger and more powerful than me. You know, I was fending for my life. I had to stay away from him because if he got his hands on me, there was nothing I could do. And so I had to get smarter and outwit him. So when I seen that, when I put together as I'm running for my life, and I noticed that the table was the same height as the stitches, I thought, I'm going to get him now. And I went running around the kitchen table. Our kitchen table was by the patio window, like. And I went running around it, and he came around the other back side. When I got to the other side, I just shoved the kitchen table right up against his stomach and the stitches. And instantly, when I bashed him there, because he knew that them were still healing, so I could have ripped him open. You know, I could have ripped him open. That could have been a really bad situation. But I didn't think about it like that. I wanted to survive. You know, I was terrified. You know, because I was just sick of him. He would always be so mean. Well, then when I pinned him, he just started bawling, and he's crying, my stitches. And I'm like, promise you'll quit. And I knew if I could get him to promise, he'd keep his. I got a good shot. He might keep his word for the night. Doesn't mean I won't get a beating tomorrow, but he might leave me alone for the night if I get him to promise. And I'm shoving it, and he's bawling, my stitches, and I'm like, promise you'll quit. And he says, all right, I'll quit. And then I said, say you'll promise. And I shoved it again. And he started bawling, well, I promise. You know, so then I let go, and he didn't bother me no more that night. Well, I probably messed up his insides more or something. Because he just, like I said, he just got back home from having appendix surgery. So, but yeah, he didn't pick on me more any that night. You know, I didn't even think about it. I just thought that was a sore spot. I could get him with it, you know, to save myself. And he didn't pick on me for a while after that. Not that night anyway. Maybe the next day or later that week. So, yeah, man, we get some scrappers. Then at one point, once I grew up and became a man, you know, I got into boxing, and while I was getting into boxing, I was also watching Bruce Lee films and Kung Fu theater and all that stuff. Bruce Lee films, I'd watch him spin nunchucks, and we had a VCR then. You young kids might not know what that is. Big old cassette tape, and it's huge. And it had movies on it. And anyway, so I'd hit, when he'd start going to spin his nunchucks, I'd hit pause, and then I'd hit play pause real quick, so it'd just jump a little bit at a time. And I'd try to watch how he's moving, you know. And then I'd practice it, and I got better and better and better. And just from watching Bruce Lee, I got really good with nunchucks. But when I met my karate master years later, all them years I'd been training with them nunchucks, now I could make them whistle through the air, because I drilled little holes so it would cut through the wind and make more noise. Because that's what I didn't know about sound effects in movies then. I just figured, you know. And so I started really getting whistling and going around my body, doing all that crazy cool stuff. And once I met my karate master, as things progressed with him, when it come to weapons or that, he asked me if I'd ever spun nunchucks before I knew anything about them. I said, well, a little bit. You know, I didn't want to try bragging or nothing, because he's the teacher. I want to learn from him, you know. And so show me what you can do with that. So I started showing him. I was like, yeah, I don't know, show him all right. So I did all this fancy stuff around my body, this way, forward, backwards, and double chucking, and under my leg, all this kind of stuff. I just did all kinds of cool stuff, you know. And I could see him. He's just looking pretty impressed. He was impressed. Then after I did all that fancy show stuff, he said, now do you want me to show you how to really use them? So all these years I trained, in 5 minutes, he destroyed that and showed me how to really use them effectively. What I was doing was cool for show, but it ain't got no power and no practical uses in it really, you know, that movement. It does a little bit, you know. So I had good control. Definitely, it was good that I had control and showmanship with it. But I didn't know how to really use them powerfully, or trapping, blocking swords, or, you know, breaking necks, or trapping arms, or busting arms, or, you know, there's so many different ways you can use them. But I didn't know none of that. I just knew how to make them look really pretty. And he, like I said, in 5 minutes, man, he took out everything I learned and showed me how to really use them. Just within so many different moves, how to really use them. And the difference between my fancy stuff and if I struck something compared to what he started showing me how to use them different ways. Which really opened up my mind even more, because then I knew from what he showed me, but then within what I already knew, I knew how to change that trajectory to make it more effective, you know, which was cool. Another reason I got really good with them, I used to roller skate a lot and do a lot of fancy stuff on roller skates and spinning and stuff. Well, once I learned how to double chuck, I started practicing spinning nunchucks on my roller skates, because I was skate guarded at this big roller rink, one of the biggest rinks in the Midwest. And when I had the rink to myself, like when I had to do maintenance and stuff like that, I'd play music, set up the lights the way I wanted or whatever. And after I got the floor cleaned up and other stuff, if I had break time with that, I'd crank tunes I liked, and I'd bust my chucks out,